personal, but there is something about the reason the mercies are there, because while we are in this life, we're going to be tempted with the opportunity to hold on to unforgiveness and to be stuck in a past. But Paul says, for this one thing that I do, I am. So what I'm going to be talking about, but I'm going to be talking this morning about the way to forget is to remember. And so the way and the process I want to deal with is the forgetting. And I know a lot of times when I hear on the subject of Philippians 3 and verse 13 specifically, we know we have a past that we want to forget. We know we have a past maybe of things that we have a hard time forgiving ourselves, if not obviously other people, for something that's happened to you in your life. But when it comes to this forgiving, this forgetting thing, I'm not saying God can supernaturally, I don't know how your memory is. I don't know what the details are in your memory. But even when I was younger, I still had issues with my memory. So it's not just because I'm seasoned many more years than I was before. This is always just a blessing handed down from both my parents, you know. My mom and dad say the same memories of me growing up. It's like I'm thinking, do you guys only remember the same 5 memories? Because this is all, you know, that I So I say thanks, Mom and Dad, for my memory of my brain that I have. But there are some things that God can supernaturally touch you in a place of forgiveness or memory, but sometimes there's something that is still ingrained, that is there, that you wish you could forget, but you're faced with it. And so what we have to do is we have to learn to take care of this. And when Paul is saying in Philippians 3, verse 13, he's saying, this one thing I do, forgetting those things. Now, we dealt with what he had to get through. You know, who has the revelation of the New Testament church? Obviously, John, but also about the New Testament church, the church that we're the bride of Christ. So if he is dealing with this, and he was one of the main persecutors of the church, all the things that he had to forgive himself for what he had even done. But that's not even to mention the other opportunities Paul had in reference to being able to forgive. Forgetting the guilt of him persecuting the church. How about the pain of his prison? The physical punishment that he had to go through. And not because he was doing something wrong, but because he was carrying on the cause for Christ. How about forgetting the frustrations of the disobedient church members? Here he is, you know, it's one thing to be an apostle to start churches, but it's another thing is because you still have to deal with the churches you started. If you ever read any of his letters to the churches, there are some crazy folks that were in the New Testament church. He even had to give some description about, don't mess with these people. You gotta, they cannot be apart. They've done something. It's like, here he is, and I don't know if you're new to church or not, but there can be crazy folks in church. Paul had to deal with that. Not just his own pain of what he went through, but the work that he began and started and the disobedience that he's dealing with of the ministries that he was a part of. And then, not even that, then he has these crazy other guys raising up and calling him false teacher, false apostle. Apostle Paul got grouped into the persecution of being accused of being a false teacher. I'm very cautious for the ministries that think that that's their personal assignment, as pointing out the false teaching in other people. You got too much time on your hands. That's all. I don't know. But what we do have is he had many reasons to constantly, even the ones he was in ministry with. Now, I was joking before when I said, who knows, Paul could have been a jerk. You know, you remember. But he did part ways with Silas or even John Mark. And like there was disagreements that happened. And so, and for whatever reason, we never know the details of the fact that he had plenty of opportunity to be at a place of a forgiving place. Because he didn't want to get stuck into a place, because he gives us the description, I've got to reach forward to what God has for me in my future. And so, for nothing else but to know, I'm going to forgive you is not letting you off the hook. Me forgiving you isn't saying it's okay, but I'm forgiving you for my own sake, not even for yours. I forgive you because I need some forgiveness in my own life, and because God has something for me, and I don't want to stay stuck in a place of bitterness. This is the reference of what he's saying. And in this forgetting place, the enemy loves to remind you. And you know, I don't even always think it's the devil. I honestly think that we give the devil some props than really it wasn't the devil. Our own conscience, our own heart can battle us in reference to it. It's so important that we don't remember a lie. It's so important that it's knowing the truth that brings freedom in our life. And what the enemy likes to do is, if you've gone through something, he likes you to remember it even in a twisted way. You see, it's amazing. Two people can go through the same thing, but remember it completely different. It's amazing. And I know we're in the month of February, and I'm not trying to get into any marriage counseling by any means, but even in, let's just, for the sake of it's Sunday, in our disagreements, relationally, I can make it biblical too, okay? In the garden, when the mistakes happened, and when the responsibility and the spotlight was on, the infamous Adam, which is so wrong. It's the woman you gave me, Lord. The woman you gave me, all right? That was his response. But don't worry, Eve's not going to be undone. The devil made me do it. It was the devil that made me do it. They have different points of view for going through something, and it's all twisted up. It's all twisted. Yeah. He wasn't too upset when he first met Eve. Bone of my bone, right? Dr. Love. He was excited. Now, he's blaming her. But look, could I even say you can't even trust your own point of view? Because we all have blind spots. When you're driving down